Hello, everybody. I'm Heather.
Hi.
So I'm the online promotions or online programs person here. And our guest today is Terry from the Cooperative Memorial Society. So, Terry, tell us a little bit about the Cooperative Memorial Society and how you got started and where you guys are now.
Well, we've been around for quite a long time. We were started in the mid 1960s, and it really came out of demand from people that wanted a lower cost option for what they saw at the time as high prices in the funeral sector. And so it was a movement that started right across North America and parts of Europe. So funeral co-ops, memorial societies really all blossomed about that time. And so in Alberta, there were three memorial societies that were started. There was the Cooperative Memorial Society, which had a different name back then, which served southern Alberta, mostly Calgary area and south. And then there was one in Red Deer and one in Edmonton. Today, there's only one, and that's the Cooperative Memorial Society, and we represent the entire province.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'm going to let you get started with your presentation. So I am going to turn off my video and my audio. But again, I encourage people to, as we go through, add your questions to the chat box and to the Q&A box, whichever one works best for you. And then at the end of the presentation, we will go through all of them.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name's Terry Gieb, and I'm the Executive Director for the Cooperative Memorial Society. Thank you to Heather and Unison for inviting us to speak today. I'm going to talk to you today about memorial societies and funeral co-ops, especially what they are, how they work, where they're located, and how they provide invaluable benefits to their members. We'll also explore how you can join Alberta's only memorial society, the Cooperative Memorial Society, to ensure your end-of-life wishes are respected and your family is supported. So what are memorial societies and funeral co-ops? These organizations are nonprofit, member-based organizations that advocate for affordable, ethical funeral services. They offer individuals and families guidance in planning end-of-life arrangements, ensuring peace of mind during what can be a very stressful time. Both memorial societies and funeral co-ops provide advocacy, education, and access to more affordable services, all while promoting transparency and respect for individual choices. So what's the difference between a memorial society and a funeral co-op? Memorial societies are more commonly found in Western Canada, with strong organizations in Alberta and British Columbia. These organizations work in partnership with local funeral homes to ensure fair pricing and ethical practices for their members. There's only a handful of memorial societies that still exist in Canada. Whereas in Eastern Canada, particularly Quebec, funeral cooperatives are more prevalent. There are about 50 funeral cooperatives in Canada, and these are owned by their members. They emphasize affordability, community-driven values, and transparency. So really the difference is all around the ownership. In the memorial societies, they work with existing local funeral homes, and in Eastern Canada, they are businesses that are actually owned by the members themselves. If you live in Alberta, you may be wondering why choose a memorial society, or you may not even be aware that memorial societies even exist. First and foremost, memorial societies provide affordable funeral options. Pricing is transparent. There's no hard selling. Members' wishes for simplicity are respected and encouraged. So how does this happen? The Memorial Society negotiates discounted rates with locally owned funeral homes. In the case of the Cooperative Memorial Society, we partner with service providers to deliver much needed service, helping to support the community and affordability. Memorial societies also focus heavily on education and advocacy, helping individuals to understand their rights and options. Lastly, these organizations all promote transparency, ensuring that families make decisions based on what's right for them, rather than being pressured into more expensive options for their funeral planning. The Cooperative Memorial Society, or CMS, was founded in 1966 to serve Calgary and southern Alberta. And as I said a few minutes ago, in about 2022, the CMS absorbed the members from the memorial societies in Red Deer and Edmonton to form one provincial organization. Today, we have 28,000 members across Alberta, and we work closely with locally owned funeral homes across the province, ensuring that our members receive compassionate and fair treatment along with affordable prices. One of the most significant advantages that the CMS offers is our simple and transparent funeral plans. We generally work with our service providers to provide 7 different discounted plans, making it simpler for members to select the services that best meet their needs. These 7 plans include funeral service with burial, a funeral service with a green burial, a basic cremation with a service, a basic cremation without a service, a basic cremation with a private farewell, and a visitation and funeral followed by a cremation. And then our last one, Plan 7, really isn't a plan at all. We call it out of plan, and it is a 10% discount on services when you elect not to use one of those 6 plans that I just explained. So as a CMS member, how do you really benefit? First of all, as I've said before, there's a significant financial savings. We've negotiated special rates with locally owned funeral homes, ensuring that our members receive high quality services at affordable prices. And people often ask, what kind of savings are you looking at? And the example I like to give in the Calgary marketplace, if you were to walk into a funeral home and buy a basic cremation, just a very basic cremation, you'd be looking at about $5,500. If you're a member of the Cooperative Memorial Society and you walk into our service provider's funeral home and bought a basic cremation, you'd be paying under $1,650. So that's about a 60% savings. So it's significant. So why do we partner with locally owned funeral homes? And it's simply because their values align with ours, and they prioritize community service over profits. These providers focus on meeting families. They focus on meeting families' needs during times of emotional and financial stress, offering compassionate support rather than simply focusing on the bottom line. They offer pre-planning for peace of mind. So we encourage members to pre-plan their arrangements, allowing them to specify their preferences in advance. This not only ensures your wishes are honored, but also eases the emotional burden on your loved ones, sparing them from making difficult decisions during a crisis. They offer comprehensive support. We provide guides, workshops, and personalized assistance to help members navigate the planning process smoothly and confidently. And we work with our service providers to ensure that they do the same with our members when they're in their funeral homes. The greatest benefit of all is the peace of mind you'll have from knowing your plans are in place and your family will be supported. And so often I hear members say they want to give their family a sense of comfort, ensuring that their loved ones can focus on healing when it's needed most. I like to share a few success stories that we receive from our members, and we have a lot, but let me share a couple. A member recently shared that thanks to CMS, her mother's funeral was not only affordable, but perfectly aligned with her wishes. And that's really important because a lot of times people don't share what their funeral wishes are. But at least if you use our system where you can go in and record your wishes, the family simply goes to the funeral home. The funeral home can pull up the information of the member and they can share with the family what their loved one wanted. So even though they might not want to talk about it, that information is still there and still accessible. Another member mentioned how grateful they were for the peace of mind that came with pre-planning, knowing that their family would not be overwhelmed when the time came. And this one is really important as well because so many families, it's tough, you're dealing with probably the unexpected loss of a loved one, and you have to make some tough decisions. And everyone thinks they know what their parent or their loved one needs, but they don't always do. And then you start getting different opinions from different people in the family. So if that information is recorded, or you've done your pre-planning or prepayment, the decision is easy. It's been made for you. So these stories just demonstrate how impactful joining CMS can be for both individuals and their loved ones. So why join CMS today? And this is an important question, because a lot of people, it's our nature, we tend to put it off. We don't want to deal with it. Let's not deal with this today, let's deal with it tomorrow. And I always say, if you do anything, get a membership in CMS, and then you've got that membership. At least if something happens to you, your family is entitled to the discount, even if they have to make the decisions themselves. Life can change in an instant, and planning ahead gives you control and spares your family from difficult choices when emotions are high. And with our support, we can help you plan. We have special rates, we have planning tools, we give workshops, we have all kinds of education sessions like this one to help you prepare for the future without stress. It's really a small investment for priceless reassurance, and membership is affordable, but the comfort of knowing everything is taken care of is beyond value. So there's no better time than to join today, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Becoming a member of the CMS is really easy. You simply go to our website, and that is coopmemorial.org. And you were able to click the buy membership button and sign up online using a credit card for $40 plus a $2.15 handling fee that we have. That amount includes GST. You can also call us if you want, or you can mail us a check, and that information's on our website. By becoming a member, you're ensuring that your family will have access to affordable, ethical services when they're needed most. And that, in a nutshell, is the difference between memorial societies and funeral co-ops. And I'm open to questions.
Okay, so I do have a couple of things here, and I encourage everyone else to throw out your questions. Where was it? Oh, there it is. Okay. And this one's not going to be quite as relevant to the Americans in the space here. Are you able to pull out a RRSP to pay for your funeral and not get dinged by the tax man on that withdrawal?
You'd have to talk to an estate planner on that, because there's so many different variations depending on your level of income and that sort of thing. One of the things I can say is, if you contributed to the CRA in your lifetime, Canada Pension, I'm sorry, if you contributed to Canada Pension, they do give a $2,500 they will, what is it, a check, I guess. You can apply for a $25 fee that they will provide to you to help cover offset funeral costs. The trick on that one is there is an application deadline, so I think it's within 30 or 60 days of death. So make sure that your family is aware that that is something they can apply for. But I can tell you that if you deal with our funeral homes, they will definitely make sure that you're aware of that and help you with the application process.
Okay.
So that's probably your best bet, rather than dipping into RSPs.
Okay. And do all co-ops and memorial societies, do they kind of work the same way as you guys? Like, read the discounts, the transparencies? Is everybody kind of working from the same playbook?
Very similar. So the transparency and the affordability is definitely on the plate for all of them. The fees will differ by organization. So our fee is $40 a year. We're probably one of the lowest. Some will have fees that are annual. Most of them have lifetime fees. Ours is a one-time lifetime fee.
Mm-hmm.
Funeral co-ops, the price is higher. That's because they own their business and it's more capital intensive. So I bought a membership for a friend in Eastern Canada. The membership fee was $100, and it was a one-time fee. So it varies. You have to look at each one independently.
Okay, so then there's a question here from Ontario. Uh, do you guys have a list of the funeral co-ops in Ontario? And I think we answered that one earlier. So I just popped into the chat box there your website.
Yes.
And if you want to head over there, and it's under, what did you say? It was under
About.
about,
And then
and
there's a list of funeral co-ops and memorial societies. So we list there all the memorial societies in Canada and a large number of the funeral co-ops. And there's also a link to the US.
all right, hang on a sec. I'm going to pop that one into the chat box as well again. So it says scroll down this page for U.S. information. This is also the page for the Canadian ones as well, the
Right.
different provinces. It says if we don't prepay, would our executors have to pay the service pay for service? It says until the will. Oh, okay. If we don't prepay, would our executors have to pay for the services until the will was probated? How long can that take?
Usually, what happens, and this varies by financial institution, but when you pass away, your banking is usually frozen, and the executor or your personal representative will usually have they require something that shows that they're so either the will or enduring power of attorney or something like that that they take to the bank, and the bank will be able to give them access to your funds. And so one of the things that they will usually allow you to pay right away are funeral expenses. So as long as the a personal representative has that access. So that's a bit of a caveat. People need to make sure that when they're doing their plans that they have their personal representative or executor, as it used to be called, set up to be able to access their banking, or they have the legitimate paperwork that is required in order to get that access, like an enduring power of attorney or a will.
Okay. Questions are coming in fast and furious. Hang on a second. Um, it says if we don't, oh, nope, that's not, got one more. When we join, can we choose a plan and have a paper copy to share with others?
Yes, the answer is yes. So we have a couple options. When you join, you go on our website. One of the options is to put your information in online, and we encourage you to use that because that's how our funeral homes can access your information if they needed to from the funeral home. So if your family came in, and said we need to plan a funeral, that information is accessible. But you do have the option of going under our Forms and Resources tab and printing out a hard copy or printing the online version and then keeping that with your paperwork at home. The only problem with that is, does your family know where it is? Is it going to be accessible to them? So yes, you can do it with the idea that make sure they know where it is and that it's easily accessible to them.
I'm going to throw on top of that one that if you keep all of your stuff in your safety deposit box, make sure that somebody else has the key to your safety deposit box because that can take, I think somebody said it was a year and a half or something before they actually were able to
Yes.
legally access the
So
safety
that
deposit box, which holds everything up.
Exactly. And that's another point as well. So usually you want to make sure that your personal representative has a key to the safety deposit box and they're named on it, that they are able to get into it without you, because most deposit boxes will require either two people to go into it. And clearly you're not going to be there to help them. So you need to set that up with your banker so that they are able to get in without you. That raises a whole other can of worms around, do you trust your personal representative? Because they can get in without you. And so, again, who you appoint as your personal representative is extremely important. And you really do need to have that level of trust with them. They need to be able to really know what your wishes are and your preferences and to be able to speak on your behalf. So they're not speaking on their behalf, they're speaking on your behalf as the person who has passed away. And that's really important as well.
Now, is that something that you can do through a law firm? Have
Yes,
the key and stuff, and that they can.
You can do it through your bank, but definitely what you want to do is you want to get that paperwork in place through the law firm that allows the personal representative to take the paperwork in to the bank and say, I am named as the personal representative. And then it just becomes they'll do a check, and then it's very easy to manage. It's when you don't have the paperwork that you're looking at the bottleneck and everything, cascading through that process of months and
Yeah. Yeah, it was a long time for that
yeah.
family. It says, well, CMS, um, okay, so do you guys have discounts on burial places or is it just funerals?
So basically, we deal with a funeral home in order to provide the burial services. If you're looking at a burial place, then what we tend to recommend, if you're looking for the best prices, then municipal cemeteries are your best bet. They are nonprofit, and so they will basically have the best prices for different types of cemetery plots. So we on our website, we have a list of as many municipal cemeteries that we could find in Alberta. And so there's quite an extensive list there, but there's probably a few hidden gems in small communities throughout the province as well. So you can also check with them.
Okay, and then we've got one for prepaid. Uh, how is that affected by inflation?
So once you actually prepay, you are not going to pay any more money. So that's the beauty of being prepaid. If you bought your plan in 1975 and you paid 1975 prices, which were probably about $1,000 for a funeral, with all the bells and whistles, your family would not have to pay anything more unless they wanted any additional services on top of what they had in that exact plan that you purchased in 1975. However, if you did want additional things, say they wanted to have a technology slideshow that they didn't have back in 1975, the family would pay the rate that's on the books today. So basically, that price is locked in. One of the other things I like to explain is when you prepay and you go to a funeral home to do that, the funeral home doesn't keep the money. It's held in a trust fund by a third party. So it's usually a type of insurance company that holds that money so that when you pass away, the funeral home then goes to that insurance company and gets that money. And then they have the plan laid out that money, the plan that you have just purchased. So that's what they will use. So in the case where a funeral home might fold or close, you're actually protected because you are still able to get that funeral plan from a different service provider. The challenging part is in all of that is because our prices are so good, there aren't a lot of service providers out there who would necessarily offer the same plans that we offer at the Memorial Society for our members. But rest assured, in Calgary, and we deal with the most reputable funeral homes. None of them have ever gone out of business. They've been around for 100 years and probably will be around for another 100 years. So I don't see that as being an issue.
All right, and then you spoke about green funerals. What are green funerals?
So green funerals basically are environmentally friendly funerals, and they also call them, there's different terms nowadays. There's natural burials, which is a little bit different than a green funeral, but very similar. So a green funeral is using a casket that doesn't have any um, uh, metal joinery, doesn't have any formaldehyde used in the building process. All of it is very natural. And then that casket goes into the ground and it can decompose. In a natural burial, the body is usually wrapped in a shroud and buried in the ground in the shroud. And so it decomposes naturally without even the container. There's also seagrass containers. There's different kinds of burial containers that you can use that are considered more environmentally friendly.
Okay. If anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to pop those in. And we'll see if we give you a few more minutes here. Um, we have done a previous one on the four big documents that you need. Um, so just really quickly, if you want to name those off, and I'm going
Sure.
to actually add the link to the one that we've already done. It is up on our YouTube channel.
Sure.
Um, Go
There's
ahead.
four what we call critical documents that every Albertan needs. So anyone over the age of 18 should really have these documents in place. And the first one is a personal directive. So a personal directive, really quickly, is the document that you need should you lose mental capacity in any form, be through accident, injury, illness. That document will, you're appointing a person to speak for you on your behalf to make decisions necessary for health, living arrangements, that type of thing. And then there's the enduring power of attorney, which is the same type of document, but it's for legal, or it's for more for legal purposes and financial decisions. So selling real estate, and for your banking needs, estate planning, that type of thing. And then there's your funeral and burial plans, which we just talked about here. And then the fourth one is, I think that's it. I think I've got them all. Funeral and burial plans. That's right.
Yeah. All right. And if anybody's interested, I just added the link for the third in our series. So this one's Funeral Planning on a Budget, Smart Strategies to Save Money Without Sacrificing Dignity. And I'm just trying to see if we've got any other questions.
Oh, I just remembered the fourth one, financial plans.
Oh, there you go.
So estate planning, wills, that type of thing. That is, is all wrapped up in one.
Okay, so we got one more question about religious options for an Orthodox funeral, or I guess any kind of religious funerals. How do you guys deal with those?
So all of our funeral service providers are well versed in all different types of funerals, from cultural traditions to religious traditions, that type of thing, and they can accommodate them. So what we say is go to our funeral service provider. You don't have to make any kind of commitment. You can just go in and have a chat with them. They can talk to you about what kinds of services they provide and some of the steps that they take. If you do pre-planning, then they will put more concrete plans in place for you. But we also have on our website some information about some of the different cultural practices and ideas of things that you can do for different religions and that type of thing.
All right. And